the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, Week 8 rankings. We're halfway through the season. We're almost there. Feels like an eternity that football started. It also feels like it was like 2 weeks ago, but it wasn't. It's 8 weeks ago. Here to break it down with me is Garion Thorne, and from The Athletic, Jake Ciely. We got you a new mic so people can actually hear you, and don't get as freaked out of when I yell. It's just not set up yet.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Well, people can't hear you.
Oh.
You're,
Well, you know, honestly, it's probably for the best.
You are the juice loosener of the Pat Mayo Experience. You're whisper quiet.
Sometimes...
I've been workshopping that one all day long.
I was going to say, sometimes the long walk doesn't pay off, but that was a good one.
Yeah, I had another
was a
one
good
too.
one.
I wrote down two. I forget what the other one is. I'll have to consult my notes after the fact. If people want to check out position by position, my rankings are in the description and up on dkplaybook.com as we speak, but I shall update them after we finish the show because I always move stuff around. Plus, if you use the description, you can just jump to the position you want, and we're going to talk about Amari Cooper here in a second too after we get our regular nonsense out of the way, and then people will complain. I came here to listen to fantasy football. Why aren't you talking about fantasy football? I thought about it too, because, you know, diehards of the show, they love us just chatting back and forth.
Yeah.
Because, like, when I listen to podcasts, it's my favorite part when people are just shooting the shit with each other.
Yeah.
But I thought that, like, if people got really triggered that we weren't talking, we could each pull out, like, a Shakespeare book and just do Shakespeare for, like, 20 minutes and really trigger people. But I decided against that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say at this point, I'm pretty much assured that you've spent more time thinking about the jokes and way to really just trigger people than you actually did in your rankings.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. If people don't realize that, they probably don't even really need us to get the rankings anyway.
Well, here's the thing. Why do you think Jake's here?
Yeah, that's a
Jake,
good point.
despite being a highly entertaining individual, is the best at rankings that there is. And he has a new podcast, too, Patreon-wise. I don't know. Oh, Jake's cracking up.
Yeah.
What are you cracking open there?
Here you go. Do you want me to start reading from this?
I was going to say, the chances of that being Shakespeare are low.
Yeah, I thought it was a giant book of Shakespeare. Just the tragedies, though. No,
it is the X-Men Age of Apocalypse Omnibus.
So see, what you need to do for that is actually just read out each of the characters in the characters' voices, and then give us, like, the description of what's going on. Because, you know, there's
you want me to read this page?
Yeah, read the
I can
page.
read this page.
No.
This
Yeah,
page.
you have to think about the audio listeners too, Jake. So you have to describe the scene and set the picture for the people.
I'm a nice man. I am. I just don't want people to be alive. That's all. I'm going to have to kill you now, Damask, cause Apocalypse will be angry. Guten Tag. There you go.
You have very porn readings of things. Oh, I'm here to fix the cable. Oh. They don't really make porn like that anymore.
No.
It's really to the point, smash and grab. Like if I'm logging on to Pornhub, I'm not spending 47 minutes watching a porn video.
I mean, if people
I'm
are
getting like the
listening
best of. I think they do a good job of time coding, like we do for this show.
Sure.
Like, hey, I want to jump to this part. You got some reverse cowgirl? I'm in. Boom. Just jump straight to that.
If people are listening to podcasts at like 1.5 times speed, I don't think anyone's watching like a full 20-minute porn to get the story.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It's not. Well, I guess there are some sads out there, but
This is more than I've ever learned about porn.
There we go. Let's jump into football. We got Amari Cooper dealt to America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, for a first-round pick. Have fun with that. Great trade.
Can't believe they did it.
Great trade.
Can't
The best part is
believe.
Gruden's acquiring all these number one picks, but he's had no idea what to do with them. He's like, can I
Do you want
draft?
to grade my joke?
Oh, let's hear it.
So when it happened, my joke was, oh, look, Amari Cooper's now on bye 2 straight weeks, non-existent, just like Amari Cooper always is.
Ah. Do you think he'll score 45 points on one of these bye weeks?
Exactly.
Well, that's the benefit to him just being on bye is you can't even get enticed to putting him in your lineup. Amari Cooper is arguably at his most valuable to your fantasy team on bye because he can't hurt you when he's on bye.
Well, the big thing is, with Amari Cooper on bye, Corey Davis is on bye, I'm going to have my most accurate rankings this week. Like, I can't be wrong on Corey Davis this week. Well, somehow he goes off.
Yeah.
Somehow, transatlantic, he's killing it. So what do we do with Cooper here? Does this increase his value, decrease his value? Is it exactly the same? Because I feel like it's exactly the same. But people will think that he's more valuable than he is. So if you have him, you should probably try to trade him.
Yes. Trade him now,
Yeah.
please. Everybody's going to start making the excuses again like they do every single year. Amari Cooper, this is why he'll be good this year. This is why he'll be good this year. This is why. Enough with Amari Cooper. The fact is, I actually talked about it in the waiver column, is Amari Cooper is going to a worse situation, not by like leaps and bounds, but Dak Prescott's even less accurate for we're talking about receivable catches, whatever terminology you want to use. But the passes to the outside, he just went from about 75, 76% for the last 3 years to now 71% with Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott was actually under 70 last year. So for all intents and purposes, his catchable balls are going down. And he's still going to be Amari Cooper. So, yes, sell him now if you can.
And the big thing, too, is Amari Cooper's done most of his damage over the past 2 years. Like, the big games is when they just move him to the slot. Then all of a sudden he's running out of the slot. No one can cover him.
Yep.
You can't do that in Dallas because the bees are there.
Also,
And you can't bring bees in here, but
No.
you can bring them there.
Scott Linehan, not exactly the most creative
No.
offensive
No, I
coordinator we
refuse to
currently
believe
have.
that.
I would actually say with Mike McCoy being fired, probably now the worst offensive coordinator in football.
Ooh.
Everybody keeps forgetting the Giants brought in Mike Shula.
That's true. Offensive coordinator really is the position where people go, he was a head coach 25 years ago. What a pedigree!
They should have got Don Shula.
I was going to say I think he's dead, but I know he's not.
He's not dead?
He rides around in a golf cart. He's really got the life.
Oh, he's got
sits in
he's
South
got the
Florida,
George H.W. Bush on the go, just
Yeah.
driving golf carts everywhere.
popping champagne once a year.
So I threw this
I'm
out.
actually
Oh, go ahead.
I'm looking at the rest of the Cowboys schedule. It's not the worst when they come off the. I mean, Titans, they get the Eagles twice going forward. They get the Falcons. They get the Saints with PJ Williams in the. If they do the smart thing and use Cooper in the slot at all. But to your point, I mean, the Colts and the Bucks to finish things off. It's a great schedule. It's just whether or not Linehan can do anything with them. But that's what you promote. That's what you tell people. Look at the schedule. Look what the Cowboys have. Look at what Amari Cooper could do. And somebody's going to buy him for a wide receiver too, like they always do.
Well, I will say, and I want to get people's thoughts on this. So if you smash the like button, which you probably have smashed the down like button, so you have to reverse that after the first part of the show. So hit the like button, leave your DK handle in the comment section, and let me know where you think Amari Cooper finishes at receiver from week 9 through week 16 in PPR scoring. So I'm very curious to see where people's opinions on it. I actually threw it out to Twitter of who would be the most valuable and scored the most PPR points of any Cowboys receiver between Gallup, the Bees, and Amari Cooper the rest of the season. 44% said Cooper, 40% said Beasley. And there's a really non-zero chance that it's Michael Gallup. Maybe this just helps him.
I mean, he looked the best he's looked all season last week. That was a low bar to clear. But, I mean, Jake's right. I mean, the same thing that's hurt Gallup, the same thing that's hurt Hearns to a degree, although I think Allen Hearns probably just isn't very good.
Hearns, baby, Hearns.
Is Dak just isn't an accurate quarterback on deep passes. He hasn't shown the ability to throw outside the numbers in a very long time. And yeah, I just feel like people are going to assume that because they traded for Amari Cooper, all of a sudden he's not going to be a forgotten man on
That
a
was the
week-to-week basis.
first comment that I got back as soon as I released that poll. It's like, why would you trade a first-round pick if you're not going to give him 20 targets a week? It's like, well, he was just getting like 12 a week and doing nothing with them.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want?
Look, they're still a run-first team. That doesn't change that. They're going to throw the ball maybe 55 to 58% of their plays, which is, in the current day and age of the NFL, a very low percentage. It's if it is a positive gain, it's minimal at best. So, yeah, he's going to have 2 weeks where he's an absolute terror. You don't know which weeks those are. Probably one against Philadelphia. Nope. But, yeah, it's going to be weird.
That draw, by the way, the liking the DK handle and the ranking, getting a draw for $20 DK, which I announce on the Monday live show with Chris Meany.
There you go.
I announced the winners yesterday. Yeah, there we are.
Nice. I'm actually looking right now because somebody tweeted it and they said that for all the games that Amari Cooper's had double-digit targets, he's scored single digits in almost every single one of them. I'm trying to find right now. I can't. Yeah, it's the majority of them. I know that. I think I want to say it was like 60% of them he scored single-digit points despite getting double-digit targets.
The Allen Robinson.
I guess so. Poor Allen Robinson. Did not live up to expectation last week.
No.
Just like Gigolo Jermaine Kearse. Not very good. Running back rankings for week number 8. Guys I have in the rankings that I presume are playing. That might change those. Check out Friday's show when I do the injury report and update the rankings. Chris Thompson, Garion Johnson, Matt Breida, Royce Freeman, Chris Ivory, Peyton Barber. Peyton Barber's injury I have as question marks because they won't tell us. They're being too savvy. I put
watch out, Bengals.
Yeah, I put Breida in the rankings because he's probably not going to play, but then he'll just be active and play 3 snaps.
Have you considered that he's made of flubber?
He could be Gumby. I don't know. I don't know how he keeps sustaining these injuries and then like he's fine, but then he leaves the game. That has to be factored into his ranking, though, that he's constantly hurt and leaves games.
No, so that's the situation, Pat. You went the wrong way. It's either he's fine up to the game and then he leaves early, or he's questionable the entire week and then he plays the entire game. It's
like the Anthony Davis of NFL running backs.
Oh, that's never good. It'll
be great. I mean, it's good for certain
It'll be
things.
good when he plays.
Yes.
The guys that I have out right now, Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette, Darren Sproles, Bilal Powell, Sony Michel, Gio Bernard, Donta Foreman, Robert Turbin, LaShawn McCoy, Theo Riddick, Le'Veon Bell, and Elijah McGuire, who is actually out. I should move him to the completely out, along with Marshawn Lynch, because he's not eligible to return from IR for one more week. But then he'll be back in that Jets backfield, really, the great Jets offense. Let's talk the rankings then. Do you guys, I think I have a spot here where guys are must-plays until they're not anymore. So number 1 is Todd Gurley. Number 2 is Saquon Barkley. Connor, Hunt, Mixon, White at number 6. This is all PPR scoring, remember. Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, David Johnson, Tariq Cohen. Latavius Murray, Mark Ingram, not my rank, Fantasy Pros rank. Marlon Mack, Nick Chubb, Garion Johnson. I guess if Powell sits, Peterson and Crowell then as well. If for these rankings, I have Freeman in, so Phillip Lindsay would be a must start, but if Freeman's in, he's number 18 for the moment. I think those are the guys you start. This is a pretty clear-cut, dry week. If you have these guys, you're playing those guys. It's hard to make cases against them based on volume alone.
Yeah, I'm probably lower on Crowell than you are, even with Powell out. It seems like this is the exact same situation he found himself in last week, minus Powell being active for part of that game.
And then we got cannons to the left of them. Cannons to the right. Do people get Fresh Prince references anymore?
The demo's aging out, but I still feel like people do.
I feel like viewers of the PME are big on Fresh Prince.
And that's the thing. I think Cannon's probably going to get somewhere between 30 to 40% of the snaps in this game. I don't think Crowell's going to suddenly see this massive jump. And I think the question you have to ask yourself every single week with Isaiah Crowell is he going to score a touchdown? And the Bears have yet to allow a rushing touchdown to a running back this season. I feel like he's going to finish the week with a similar total of fantasy points we saw last week. So I probably wouldn't have him inside the top 20. I understand why it might have to happen.
But a lot of Crowell's lack of usage last week was they just got down from the first snap of the game and they were never up.
Fair.
I think this game could be a bit more competitive.
But at this point, it's almost empty volume with Crowell if he doesn't score the touchdown. I mean, he's 4 of his 7 games this season. He's averaged less than 3 yards per carry. I mean, he needs to just volume his way to like 10 points in a PPR. He would need somewhere along the line of like 20 carries and probably 2 catches.
All right. So you're open to moving Crowell down?
Yes. I would definitely have Lindsay ahead of Crowell.
Okay, Jake, where would you put Crowell?
I guess, is this supposed to be that bad with Bilal Powell? I didn't think it was or definitively out, but
he's not definitively out right now. It's just I'd say that if we were doing it today,
we're guessing as of
like
today. Yeah, that's fine.
So,
where you have him today, I'd still go. I wouldn't move him much, honestly. I would actually. It's funny, you have 16, 17, 18. I just would reverse course there. So I would keep Crowell there, but I would play Lindsay over him even if Freeman is active. But I wouldn't play Adrian Peterson in front of him because the one thing that the Giants do well is run defense through the middle. And I don't even care if Chris Thompson's not playing. Adrian Peterson through the middle of those tackles against the Giants, that's not where you want it. You saw it with the Falcons. I mentioned this last week to you guys, and I said this is why. Now, Ito Smith should be used more in the passing game and used more in space, but they continue to, for some reason, run on between the tackles. And that's why I said, don't get excited about Ito Smith, was they need to use Tevin Coleman in space, which they did. And that's what works. So I don't like Adrian Peterson as much as you. Again, we're nitpicking here, but I would still start Lindsay over both.
Well, I would have, one of the cases that we made against AP last week, even with Thompson out, was it was a very similar situation against Dallas, and he just overcame it. Yeah. He was good. I was shocked. And the reason Judge Ito was bad because Cuss claimed on the Sunday show that Judge Ito will sentence your teams to victory. That did not happen.
Oh my
One of his best lines of the season.
It really was. It was number 1 Cuss moment we had.
I will say, when it comes to Ito, and I guess Peterson would kind of fall into this ilk as well. I mean, coming into that game against the Falcons, the Giants had allowed, I believe it was their last 3 opponents to exceed their implied team total by 8.3 points. And the Falcons' team total was over 30. So we were really expecting Ito to get at least a goal line touch in that game.
No. See, that's the thing. We were doing the expectancy for that. But I go back to last week. It was the fact of I still don't expect anything to happen between the tackles against the Giants. That's the only thing they've done right this year, or done well outside of Barkley and Odell Beckham when Eli Manning can actually get him the ball.
And going for two.
Yeah. The run defense. Are we going to go down that road about the math?
No, we're not.
Between the tackles.
We all agree it was the correct call. We don't really have to talk about it.
I have a whole rant. I'm saving it for another show, but
I ranted about it on the podcast today. I don't think it's no.
Look, I think the only thing
it almost made me quit Twitter. Put it that way.
Fair. The only thing I think I'm saying here is when you can look at a game and assume a team might score somewhere in the realm of 35 points, I'm okay using the guy who is probably going to get the majority of the goal line work, where I really can't make the same proclamation about Washington. I would say they probably score 3 touchdowns at best, but Peterson, I mean, I think he's at the point now where he just has to be a top 20
He's going to get you his 17 carries, and you hope he breaks one. Or one of them's a goal line.
Or scores.
Yeah.
And this is similar to the Cowboys. This team grinds the clock.
So the guys behind him, I have Ivory at 19 if Shady doesn't play. You can see some Marcus Murphy action in there.
Maybe.
I mean, he should be higher, but it's the Bills' offense, and they don't score, so you have to factor that in.
Yeah, you wouldn't have him any higher than you would have Shady if he were healthy, and Shady would probably be around this territory anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and it's the Patriots, who they're going to run up the score just like last week, which is why Marcus Murphy got run. This might even be too high for Chris Ivory.
Yeah.
Well, Ivory would have stayed in the game a lot more, but he banged up his foot against the Colts, and they just took him out and started using Marcus Murphy. So I would think
why are you going to overwork Chris Ivory, who has a history of injuries, and Marcus Murphy finally looked somewhat decent last week? I'm looking right now. Your boy Rocket Richard, I would start him over Chris Ivory in a PPR.
Well, that's actually what I wanted to get to.
That's a good point.
At number 20, I have Jordan Howard because that's just where he's going to be the rest of the year. Rocket Richard at number 21, Lamar Miller, Chris Carson, Kenyon Drake, Chris Thompson, Matt Breida, The Duke Johnson, Alex Collins, Corey Clement, depending on the inflection you enjoy to use. And then Fantasy Pros has ranked Doug Martin at number 30, whereas I have him in second worst place.
I'm sure we've gone over this, but it is interesting. Is it 3 of the 4 players you have in worst place happen to play for the Raiders?
It all kind of, but they didn't.
Yeah, no, it happened organically.
Yeah.
Sure, it's like the entire league realized and came to your thought process that all these guys are the worst, and then as we know, the Raiders only sign the worst players.
They all just ended up on the Raiders.
Really came together.
It did.
Really came together.
So with Rocket Richard, I intentionally ranked him lower than I wanted to because I wanted to put him at number 4.
Because you wanted to talk about him?
Yeah, I just really wanted to talk about him. So how high should he move up? Marlon Mack or Rocket Richard?
I think it's still Mack.
Marlon Mack.
Okay, Nick Chubb or Rocket Richard?
Chubb, yeah.
Even though he doesn't play passing downs and they're 8-point underdogs.
I think you can just write him in for 15 touches. I would still take Chubb.
And he gets the goal line.
Yeah.
Would you go Rocket Richard or Garion Johnson?
Garion.
Who, as I pointed out on Sunday, you can't be triggered when he doesn't get goal line touches because he got one. And people were complaining they didn't get 2. The fact that he got 1 was mind-boggling.
I picked up LeGarrette Blount that morning to play him just for the touchdown upside, knowing that was going to happen.
We talked about it on the Sunday show.
Yeah, he's going to get his work on the goal line.
Yeah, and to expect anything different is crazy. That's what they do.
Also, Detroit scored, I think, 29 points on average their last 3 games. They're getting to the red zone. I mean, LeGarrette's going to have
But the thing is if Theo Riddick is back, I'm selling high on Carry-On if I have him, because if Theo Riddick is back, you really think Patricia's not going to stick his head back into the sand and give them all touches again?
Well, they used Amir Abdullah and someone else. I forget who it was.
Yeah.
It was a 4-way split in the backfield.
But primarily Carry-On got the bulk of the carry. I don't think
primarily, but they weren't Theo Riddick.
Sure, but this is kind of a point that, I mean, we'll get to him in a second because let's talk about Richard for now. But I think Lamar Miller could probably be higher on this list.
Oh, yeah. Former worst place listee Lamar Miller.
Yeah,
I'm not going back to Lamar Miller.
Not doing it. I'm not
going down that well.
But it's cause and effect.
I'm not going down that well.
If we think we
had
should sell
one good game this year.
Fair.
And it was in his worst matchup. Now he has a good matchup, probably going to be awful.
It's a great matchup.
And it's going to suck.
Frank Gore had a good matchup last week, too.
Yeah, but Lamar Miller is a little bit more involved.
So Jalen Richard should be 16 right behind Carry-On.
Yeah, that's...
Okay, I'm in. Don't need to sell me. Number 16, Rocket Richard.
Well, I mean, we bag
on... I'll tell you
what,
if Theo's back, I'm starting Richard.
Look, you do have to factor in that the Raiders could win this game against Colts.
It's probably, of all the possible game scripts, it's probably the one that is least definite to be a passing script, but I never put it past Oakland to just be losing a game. But also, we back in the Falcons all the time for just getting eviscerated by running backs in the passing game. The Colts are right behind them in targets.
Yeah.
This is a great spot for Richard.
So number 16 for Richard, everyone gets bumped down. Chris Carson at 23. I would have higher if I wasn't worried about Mike Davis stealing his touchdowns.
Well,
but
it's not even just that anymore. All of a sudden, they reverted back to using Rashad Penny. I have no idea how he is implementing this backfield. It makes zero sense. There were 2 weeks where the running game was operating at one of the highest capacities in the NFL. It was perfect. And all of a sudden he decided, let's get Rashad Penny in here for no good reason. He had 2 running backs that were already doing
Somebody
fine.
asked me in the comments of the waiver column, they said, I know you're a Rashad Penny truther. Should we get back on board? And I said, a couple of weeks ago, I said, I have no earthly idea what's going through Pete Carroll's head. And I don't know that he knows.
It's
and that's the problem.
On loop.
Yeah.
I will play Chris Carson. I'll play Chris Carson, but I'm not touching the other 2. And honestly, if I could sell Chris Carson to get away from that backfield altogether, I would.
Maybe he wants to use 3 running backs because 3 times 3 is 9, 11.
Mike Davis is at 37. I have Penny way down. Do we think that the Penny involvement was because they were blowing out the Raiders?
Possible.
There's no way to know.
But yeah, I think to have Carson in as a back-end RB2 is fine because I think we can say somewhat definitively he is going to be the
primary back.
Primary back, yeah. But whether
and
that
we're dealing
means
with four bye weeks here too.
And I will say this, not that this is a ringing endorsement by any means of this situation, but if there was a team that could sustain 3 running backs, it's the team that runs the ball more than anyone else in football.
That's the one thing I worry about this week playing in Detroit, that if Detroit pops up early, what happens then?
Yeah, they're probably forced to pass.
Then Big Dougie B week.
I like Doug Baldwin every week.
Chances Duke Johnson has the... why wasn't Duke Johnson getting the ball last week?
He was. Until actually Duke Johnson was doing a little bit better than Nick Chubb was until about 3/4 of the way through the game. It was looking like it was going to be a bust. And I don't think that we're ever going to see much more than what we saw last week, though. To answer your question, it's kind of like he was, but he wasn't. He got more involved, but it wasn't to the point of what we thought it should be if it's down to 2 running backs, similar to the Patriots. Like, he should have been Nick Chubb, Sonny Michel, James White, Duke Johnson, and it wasn't. So I don't think we can go in and say, let's look at this game script, predict it to be pass happy, predict, as you mentioned before, the score of the Browns are projected to lose, and say Duke Johnson's going to get more involved because it doesn't even look like they're doing that.
I have Kenyon Barner at 43. Should he be higher?
Who knows? They might sign Mike Gillislee back tomorrow.
I mean, it's tough to say because we talk about this all the time where even, there's a bit of the Osweiler effect tied up into this too, where it tends to be when these situations happen mid-game, we can't overreact to the reaction of the coaching staff because they weren't prepared for something of this magnitude to happen. But I would still say if Sonny Michel doesn't play, James White's probably going to play, 55 to 60% of the snaps?
Or they just don't run. They just do.
Or you're going to see James Devlin and Cordella Patterson.
Yeah.
Patterson's going to get touches out of the backfield now.
I almost said Matt Devlin. I don't think he's playing running back.
Great play-by-play voice.
Peyton Barber dealing with a mysterious injury. Let's say he doesn't play.
Yeah, I was going to ask you this. How high does Ronald Jones go? I think I would have Jones ahead of
Alex Collins in Carolina.
I'd probably have him
for sure.
Yeah.
Would you have him ahead of Chris Thompson?
Yes.
Really?
Right
Thompson's
there.
active now.
That's right. That's the spot. Here's the thing. Ronald Jones struggles just as much, if not, more than Jordan Howard in the passing game. Yep. And yet that's where they were using him was in the passing game. And then they gave him goal line carry when we had the Peyton Barber situation of not knowing what he got hurt last week. And so if Ronald Jones, it doesn't look like it's going to be, hey, oh my God, it's only 1st and 2nd down. Maybe Jacquiz Rogers gets involved. They were already using him in the passing game. So I would use him over Chris Thompson, who is purely a pass catcher just for volume alone. I don't feel good about it, but that's where I would put him.
Kenyon Drake, number 24. I feel like he gets 5 catches this week. They have no one left to get
He's
passes.
Been targeted almost 30 times the past 4 weeks. I mean, there was a point towards the end of the game. I feel like they're going to probably be able to just sign someone off the practice squad. Activating their best receiver might actually help. They might do that this week too.
No, they're going to trade him for 8 first-round picks.
Hey, that seems to be the value right now. But he was lining up as their tertiary slot receiver towards the end of the game.
And Amendola's banged up too.
Yeah, he was limited today. I think that's an old man limited because he's always banged up. He's in a perpetual state of being banged up.
He's real old. I think. I assume he's really
well.
old.
He's had like 7 concussions, so his brain is that of an 85-year-old man. But
Wow, we're really joking about that?
I'm not really joking about it. I'm just doing facts.
Spitting facts.
Look, I'm not Merrill Hodge denying CTE. I'm embracing the science we have here.
He's going to be 33 in November.
He's an old man.
Seems so much older. That's old for football.
Yeah,
for a
he's
wide
the same age
receiver,
as
though.
me. Put it that way.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Hey, listen, my back's always a hurt. I'm not a pro athlete anymore.
It is funny though, and I think it's something to kind of speak off of Jake's point about how they're utilizing Ronald Jones. There just have to be like 10 coaching staffs a year we go into the season knowing aren't going to utilize their players properly.
Mm-hmm.
And
They're one of them.
And they are definitely one of them. I mean, it's the difference for Duke Johnson even. It's the difference between him being like Tariq Cohen. If they could actually script plays for him and utilize him in space and get him the ball where he needs to have the ball, he could be explosive. But
Look
they
at
don't,
last year.
because it's
one
Hugh
of
Jackson.
5 every single year. He's one of 4 or 5 running backs that reaches around 500 receiving yards. He's arguably the best pass catching running back in the league. So to your point, yeah, I mean, we did. Look what just happened. We finally got Mike McCoy. I say we, but we finally got Mike
No, we
McCoy
did.
fired.
I'm taking credit for this one. No, actually, Jeff Feinberg gets all the credit.
Yeah, I mean, just calling him Ellen DeGeneres because they look alike is probably enough to get you fired.
Did you see? He tweeted this out during the Thursday Nighter, but he had his regular stream of Ellen DeGeneres Mike McCoy tweets, and he finally had one which was just like, "My wife asked me why I'm so mean to Ellen."
Packers running back, play none if you can, but Aaron Jones, I guess? Or is this a Montgomery game because they're going to be passing?
Look, coach speak is dumb, granted. But we've now had 2 consecutive weeks where Aaron Rodgers came out and said that they should get...
Please tell me about why Aaron Jones is going to
Look,
be good.
I'm not saying you should rank him higher. I'm just saying here's why he is the guy. Just, one, he should be. He's part of that list, and they're part of that list of coaching staffs that don't utilize their players properly.
Jake and I have the same reaction to this.
That's fair. Look, I'm not saying you should rank him higher. I'm just saying he's the guy of the 3.
He's the Amari Cooper of running backs. It's not happening. Get over it, everybody.
He's not the Amari Cooper of running backs because he's actually talented and good. It's not his fault he doesn't get the ball.
No,
Amari Cooper physically
Cooper's
drops
talented
the ball.
and good.
He's not good. No, he's not good. It's different between being a wide receiver and getting targets that you don't properly utilize and being a running back who just doesn't get carries.
Maybe you should learn how to pass block. Just chip block.
What about Raheem Mostert?
I mean, if Breida doesn't play, sure.
Well, what if Breida's active?
No, I mean, if Breida's active, it's at best going to be like a 12-12 split.
I have to thank Matt Breida for playing in the Monday Nighter when Alfred Morris got the no carries. I made a bet with Cust that Morris would get over 17.5 carries if Breida was inactive.
Oh.
And then Breida was all of a sudden active, then got hurt, but Morris didn't get any carries anyway. Whew, dodged a bullet on that one.
That's strange. Yeah.
No, but you have to like Mostert if we don't have Breida. I mean, I'm not that thrilled with him as a player. If you've watched him, there's still PPR appeal. There's still the fact that anybody in the league, almost anybody, looks better than Alfred Morris at this point. So I think it's Mostert actually. Whatever, Mostert or Mostert, whatever, how you want it. Similar to the situation.
He comes out wearing a big white wig.
I think this is a fair spot for where you have him. You know what? Yeah, I think this is a good spot.
Yeah, he's probably gonna get. If Breida's active, he probably gets, 8 to 10 carries?
Touches, yeah.
Seems
we'll
to
say
be
touches.
where we roughly are in this.
Yeah
that's fine.
LeGarrette Blount, touchdown only. That's what you're playing him for. Tyler Ervin might just play the slot against the Dolphins and take over that Kiki Cutie role. I wouldn't bank on it, but I ranked him at number 41 in case that happens, because that would make him pretty valuable.
I saw the article on Monday, or not the article, but the little blurb write-up about that from somebody that covers the team, and I included that in the waiver column. I said it was funny. So I mentioned Cordell Patterson for the running back, saying, hey, he might get some carries, and then I mentioned Tyler Ervin and said, hey, he might actually get some slot work receptions because they do need him in the QT role, and they're going to use him there, and they used him a little bit in the preseason and kind of that Tavon Austin gadgety, we'll see where we can put him type of thing. So I mean, it's a desperation dive, but we're talking about, like you said, 4 teams on a bye, a lot of hurt running backs. You might be in a 12-14 deep team league where you got to go after somebody.
I have more confidence that Ervin gets utilized in the slot more than Cordell Patterson does in the backfield.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I don't have a super high degree of confidence of either, but I feel like the Ervin one makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Pick a loser PPR running back to start. Trenton Cannon without Bilal Powell.
Sure.
Ty Montgomery, Devonta Booker, predicated on the fact that Royce Freeman might miss the time, or Marcus Murphy.
I'm going Murphy. Unless Royce Freeman's out, then I'm going Booker.
Yeah, I think Murphy's probably the safest play, just in the sense that there's only really one way that game script can work. I know there's weird Bills Monday Night Magic.
I tried this before with Marcus Murphy.
You did.
I got shut out of the China Club.
Who was that against again? That was
Minnesota.
That was Minnesota, right. I don't think the Patriots are losing to Derek Anderson and the Bills.
Kind of hope they do.
Hey,
Look, it would be my favorite thing to happen this season. I just
we didn't
don't
think the Vikings had any shot. Everybody a survivor that got knocked out in week 3 because of the Vikings.
The Patriots and Vikings are a little different.
Are you still in the second run survivor that we're doing, Jake?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's been eliminated since that week when we all got eliminated.
No, of course not. That's how it always works out. I told you the one that I remember the most, not fondly, but it comes to mind immediately was the week 5 Seahawks over the Giants a whole bunch of years ago. And that same league that I jumped in another one that we did a rebuy, there was like half of us made it all the way through week 17. It's one of those ones as you avoided the landmine.
Wide receivers. Guys I have in. Seth Roberts, who could be sneaky. Geronimo Allison and Randall Cobb both expect to be back. Albert Wilson, out. Kiki Cutie, out. Kenny Stills, out. It's going to be a fun Thursday night game. Cooper Kupp, Dante Pettis, Travis Benjamin is on bye. I should probably take him out of there, and he played last week. Rashad Higgins, Jamison Crowder, Ryan Grant, and P. Rich, Paul Richardson, I have listed as probably out. If those guys get probably in, I will put them inside of the rankings. Traded Amari Cooper. We discussed that.
Congratulations.
What
a hero.
He's not going to be playing this week. And a lot of teams with decent receiver, 2 teams with decent receivers on bye. The rankings themselves, Adam Thielen at number 1, AJ Green, Antonio Brown, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre, Devontae, Juju, Beckham, Michael Thomas, Robert Woods, into Stephen Diggs, Brendan Cooks, Mike Evans, Emmanuel Sanders, Jarvis Landry, T.Y. Hilton, Tyler Boyd, Kenny Golladay, John Brown. Say those top 19 are probably must-starts.
Yeah, I was looking at this beforehand. That was where I sort of drew my line, but I will say I included a 20th receiver.
Who was your 20th?
I know it's a tough matchup. I'm still just starting Alshon Jeffrey no matter what.
Okay, I have Alshon at 25, so he's a start for me.
That's fair. He's been wide receicer 7 since
and he's been really good. I've been a lot lowl on him.
And the Jaguars haven't exactly been.
Just hasn't been good.
Let's not get crazy.
No, but to be fair, if you look at...
Hold on. The last 2 games gave up 30 points to 2 of the worst offenses in football.
I just think that when you look at comparable receivers, too, I don't know if he's quite on the level of these 2 gentlemen. But
you're not on the level, Garion.
Fair.
You're on the take.
But Odell Beckham had a perfectly fine performance against him in week 1. DeAndre Hopkins, it wasn't a huge catch game, but he still managed to do enough to be super viable. Like, I'd have no fear putting him in there.
Okay.
Both Texas teams did well, and those are the two of the worst offenses in the league, and they did well against them. It's funny. I would have Alshon Jeffrey higher as well, but I thought you were going to say the one I would still put there is Julian Edelman. I don't care. It's Buffalo. The only good corner they have is Tre'Davious White, and they didn't do much last week. Got exposed for the entire defense. I'm starting Julian Edelman every single week in a PPR. I don't care.
I don't know if they got really exposed last week. No receiver had more than 40 yards on the Colts.
No, as a defense.
Yeah,
as a defense. Again, to Garion's point from before about scoring points.
Yeah.
I had Edelman at 21. So I just think Will Fuller without Cutie has been electric. And was actually good last week.
I mean, again, good. He had 6 catches for 63 yards.
In a bad matchup.
Fair.
You wait till the Jags go run train on the Eagles in London. 45-0.
I will say, though, along the lines of us professing the one thing our terrible teams do well, the Dolphins do have a pretty stout secondary. Like, that's the one aspect of their game that actually isn't terrible. And I'll bring this up every single week.
The Jags have better DBs than the Dolphins do.
Fair. That's fine. I'm just saying it's not like he's going into a great matchup this week. And every single matchup they have, regardless of who the actual defensive line is, I mean, they are pressured right now in a league-high 42.1 of their dropbacks. Will Fuller is, in principle, a guy who needs 2 to 3 seconds for his routes to develop.
Well, in the weeks where Cutie has been inactive versus the weeks where he has been active,
sure.
Will Fuller's getting double-digit targets in every single game that Cutie's been inactive.
That's fine. I think I would rather start. Yeah, I would have Alshon Jeffrey ahead of him, and I'm going to be with Jake. I would have Julian Edelman.
Okay,
I would have Julian Edelman in front of him, and I would have Doug Baldwin in front of. I would have quite a few guys because here's the other one we're not even talking about. Deshaun Watson had to take a flipping bus to the game because he can't fly. Like, we're okay with this?
Yeah, he was fine last week.
It's like John Madden.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Oh yeah, that was a great game last week.
It's fine. They won. It was a much tougher defensive matchup than Miami's going to present to them on a short.
He
on
couldn't
Thursday.
fly with the team.
Although,
Come on.
Maybe this is all just to cover that he's afraid to fly.
Who, like Kornheiser?
Yeah, or like John Gruden, who has to take a boat next time they go to London. He's taking Titanic 2 back this week.
why can't he just? I'm sure he would have the same value calling plays from, like, you know how they do the Olympics, where it's just someone sitting.
Yeah, so someone in the
downtown?
basement of
just
some
watching it on a
studio.
screen. Yeah, he can just watch the game on the screen, phone in plays.
I guess the point is you're playing all these guys anyway. I'll move Elshon up to Elshon or John Brown.
I would have John Brown.
Jake?
Yeah.
Okay, so Elshon at number 20. And I'll move Fuller behind Edelman then. So I'll go Fuller number 22, Edelman keep him at 21 and move Elshon to number 20.
And Tate.
You know what? I've been a big Golden Tate truther in the past. Just doesn't do it for me anymore.
He's a fine player, though.
He is a fine player, I've heard that.
Yeah.
So down week and we're done now?
But like, what's he doing this year? Well, he's not Galladay. Galladay is their best receiver. And Marv is the one who's gone away, so he's a low end number 2.
He's still top 25, isn't he?
I would say, though, that...
Yeah, I have him at number 22.
To again speak to that the Dolphins do have some actual NFL viable corners. I mean, it was the first week we had seen them utilize their tight ends at all. I think coming into that game, their
He's
tight
18
ends,
on the year in PPR.
There we go. Coming into that game, their tight ends had 9 receptions for the year. And some guy who I can't even remember his name.
Michael
caught
Roberts.
2.
Michael Roberts.
Thank
AKA
you.
Michael Richards.
I got so many questions on Sunday. Who's Michael Roberts? And then somebody today, is Michael Roberts a thing?
Well, the thing was, I saw Roberts catch a touchdown. For whatever reason.
Seth Roberts, right?
No, I thought it was Andre Roberts.
Oh, wow.
Because at least he used to play for the Lions, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, but he's definitely still playing for somebody. I can't remember.
No, there's no way. I mean, he's probably playing for the...
Yeah, he's playing for the Jets.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
there
God.
it is. He's returning punts for the Jets.
Of course
yeah.
he is. Who just signed Rashard Matthews.
Yeah, I saw that. Fine player as well.
He's not playing this week, is he?
I wouldn't think so.
Even if he is, he's not going to be that involved. He's got to learn that playbook.
Okay, so let's talk about the guys that are more important. We'll start with Funches. I have Funches at 26, Josh Gordon at 27, Crabtree, DT against the Chiefs, Allen Robinson at 30, Sterling Shepard, Traquan, Taylor Gabriel, Danny Amendola, Chris Godwin, Christian Kirk, Randall Cobb, Jermaine Kearse, Sammy Watkins, D.D. Westbrook. Guys that are below that, the 41 and down, which guys would you move into that range I just talked about? Which guys would you move out?
I would. So there's actually somebody in that range I would move up. So I know that wasn't your question, but I like Taylor Gabriel more than 33. Slot opportunity here. It's a huge opportunity for the matchup. It's a huge bounce back game, in my opinion, for Gabriel. And a similar slot situation. The one area we were talking about last week of why we like QT was that's where you attack the Jaguars defense. I think Nelson Aguilar is sneaky. I like Nelson Aguilar more than rolling the dice on trying to figure out which Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver is going to do something.
Here's the thing. I think that's just Ertz and Goddard, not Aguilar. I think that's just where Wentz
you know
looks.
what? That's fair. But again, I look at the opportunity and trying to figure out if it's going to be Dede or if it's going to be Moncrief or it's going to be Cole. Like I'd rather roll the dice in Aguilar.
I think it's fair to say Aguilar over any Jets receiver. Or Jags receiver, excuse me.
I like Dede. Dede didn't have a connection with Cody Kessler. But since Bortles is in London...
it is London Bortles.
He's not that
true.
good in London.
I'm anticipating like 4 touchdowns from him. So Dede's going to have at least 2. So
he's had 1 great game, 2 subpar games, and then 1 was saved by a rushing touchdown. He's not that good in London.
Look,
they did play a really good Baltimore defense in one of those games. So
Yes.
Yeah, that was the one that he went off. That was, I think, just last year when he had the 4 touchdowns.
Exactly. So now he's playing the Eagles defense, which is worse than that Baltimore defense. Therefore, he's going to throw 8 touchdowns.
A is greater than B is greater than C.
I guess, I mean, beyond that point...
Like, I hear your Aguilar case. He's so...
I'm not. Look, if you don't, this is not one where I'm going to sit here and be like, "Oh, I need to win this one." If you don't want to buy into it, that's fine. I mean, you asked who would we move
No,
off.
I understand that, but there are certain guys that, like, I mean, every single week you make a really good case for one of these guys down here. I'm like, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. With Aguilar, he doesn't move the needle for me. You could be completely dead on with that, but I really do think that Goddard's going to be inconsistent week to week. Like, Ertz is going to break, like, every tight end record this year.
He's going to have double-digit targets every single game, yeah.
And then if Goddard starts getting, like, 3 to 5 targets every week, I feel like that's coming directly from Aguilar.
Well, and the thing with Aguilar, too, is this is a pristine matchup, so I think you can kind of ignore somewhat of the track record we've had with him this season, but he has proven time and time again to just not be utilizing his targets with any sort of efficiency. I mean, his yards per target is among the worst receivers in the league.
And the pass rush for the Jags isn't going away, and Philly can't block.
Yeah, that's a surprising problem that's cropped up this year.
Hurt.
Yeah, it's true.
They're all playing, but they're all hurt.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the receivers that Garion actually accidentally said at first was the Jets wide receivers, because right now, assuming there is no Rashard Matthews this week, you got him backwards. I brought it up last week. I'm going to say it again. Jermaine Kearse on the outside and not in the slot is a death toll to his value. He's not going to have value outside. And I know he's not going to get a 0 again, but if Rashard Matthews is out there somehow this week, then I love it, because put Kearse right back in the slot. Let's get involved. He might even be too low. But as of right now, I'm starting Robbie Anderson. I don't even touch Kearse until he gets moved back into the slot.
No, I got to double down on Kearse, all right? got to do it. I picked him up everywhere. Got to have him high in my rankings. I got to play
This is the DraftKings. You went 0 for the week, and it's like, all right, I'm going to throw a ton of money on Monday night and win it all back.
Well, yeah, that's how you win, isn't it?
On that note, if you or someone you know.
Hey, odds and lines are subject to change. See website for actual odds. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Seamless.
It's a very good
Seamless.
transition in. I'm going to stick with Kearse for this one. He played 90%. I don't understand. The best was the... I tweeted it out. The fake update that I got that said that Sam Darnold was sacked by Jermaine Kearse.
I remember
That was
seeing
terrific.
that. Yeah.
I laughed hard at that. I retweeted that.
Like, it's the only thing you could do. Like, and the thing is, like, I went back and I watched that game. DAZN, for as much shit that I give it, you guys don't have it in the States, but everywhere outside of America,
Do you still find it buffers about every 10 minutes?
you have to hit, no, not every 10 minutes. You need a good Wi-Fi connection, but it's basically what controls the NFL rights outside of America. So if you're anywhere else in the world, you have to use DAZN.
And if you want to watch the Bundesliga. Or
Yeah, if you want to watch
second-league
Bundesliga,
soccer.
La Liga, KHL, hockey, or some weird boxing and Bellator.
Yep.
Either way, you can go back. Like, they have the NFL, like, Sunday ticket package if we can go back and watch the game.
Yeah, they
like,
got Game Pass.
So I went and watched it. I was watching these Jets plays. Like, Jermaine Kearse was, like, standing there wide open. Sam Darnold just sucks. He's safe space Sam. That's what he's always calling his therapist when he gets to the sidelines. That's who he's talking to.
He looks a lot over the middle of the field. That's where the slot value
He's too
comes from.
triggered that people come into his safe space into the backfield. He gets too rattled because he's a millennial.
That's why Tajay Sharp's a thing now for the Titans, because Marcus Mariota refuses to throw interceptions in the red zone. And I say refuses it with that tongue in cheek because he doesn't take any chances in the red zone because he's so scared. He just eats up the middle of the field, and Delaney Walker, who's now gone. I mean, now it's turning into Tajay Sharp.
Well, we know that Marcus Mariota's go-to play in the red zone is just to throw it to himself. But he's got to save that, though, for big moments.
He should really utilize that more.
Nah.
Yeah, I think I talked about this with Meanie on Monday. Just poor Derrick Henry. I actually feel bad for him.
Interesting.
Why?
Because he can't win. If he's in the game, the defense knows what's happening. Like, they can't even use him they can't use him near the goal line. Like, when they had the 4th and 1, they had the 2-point conversion, they had to have Dion Lewis in the game. Because if you have Derrick Henry in there, you know that you're running.
This goes to LaFleur, and everybody's like, well, I was one of the people that thought LaFleur would really help this offense. We got rid of the exotic smash mouth.
Here's the thing. It did not.
No, it definitely did not. But to your point, Derrick Henry is a better pass catcher than most people realize. I know you know that. I know we know this. But you would think LaFleur would do, like, how amazing of a you run a fake with Derrick Henry at the goal line on a play act. You'd have all freaking day, and you could just lob it to Derrick Henry.
It is funny because we were doing the live show Sunday morning, sort of both watching that game, sort of in the corner of our eye.
Hey,
I was missing like large 45-second chunks of it.
Live show again this Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Be there.
But I remember seeing Derrick Henry running in space and thinking, oh my God, he's finally broke one. Because that's the only possible answer and scenario where that would happen. And he actually caught a pass.
Oh, I thought he was running to the sidelines.
No, I remember I had to like stop you and tell you, like, hey, Derrick Henry just caught a pass.
You act like I remember things.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything.
Catch.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but they should almost run like a bizarro offense where they pound Dion Lewis up the gut and throw to Derrick Henry just because teams aren't expecting it.
They should
that
try
might
it.
work.
Should try something.
Or just, like I said, throw a few play actions out there with Derrick Henry. To go back to your original question, the one other one that might be intriguing, we don't know, and unfortunately, we probably won't know until we see it happen on the field. But with Amari Cooper gone, who's going to? If it's Jordy Nelson's back in the slot, there's some value there. If it's Seth Roberts, he's a deep fly. It's it's all going to depend on what they do with the formation, who ends up in the slot for the Raiders.
Jordy Nelson's in worst place, so it's not him. Martavis Bryant, I have at 41. He has the most potential of these guys.
It's probably
But he's not the one that's going to line up. This is either going to be Roberts or Nelson. And
I'd rather play
I
Seth
hate
Roberts.
Nelson as much as anybody. You know that. But if he's back in the slot for some work, he could get a little bit of value back.
Can I just say that, look, I get it. I get it. I don't want to be Dolphins guy. I don't. You have Devontae Parker behind Torrey Smith. You'd start Torrey Smith above Devontae Parker.
I started Torrey Smith in a league last week. He's like
I started Jakeem Grant before I started Devontae Parker. At least they like Jakeem Grant.
That's fair. That's fair. I would agree with that.
Any Dolphins? That sounds like a horrible idea. Kenyon Drake, that's it.
No one left.
The Irish assassin, Nick O'Leary.
no
Yeah, that's
one
great
left.
when they score
Mike
0
Gesicki.
points. Yeah, isn't Gesicki dealing with a concussion?
He was limited
Or
today.
did he come back?
Was he?
Yeah, he was. I think he's going to play Thursday night. Brock in a revenge scenario, but it's not a revenge game for Brock. It's the revenge the Texans are going to take out on him for being awful. It's not going to be good news for
I
Brock.
feel like that was the best $21 million
He was cleared of the
they
concussion
ever
in the
spent.
game. He's fine. He was cleared during the game.
I just don't want any part of this pass.
I just want to go on record saying Devontae Parker's going to outscore Torrey Smith this week.
Are you sure about that?
And so what? Because he scores 2. and
Are
Torrey
you
Smith
positive
scores 1?
about that?
I think I am positive about that.
Did Torrey Smith ever play for Baltimore? He did, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Revenge game. Back-to-back revenge games for
No,
Torrey Smith.
no, see, not because you said that. Now I'm with Garion.
Doesn't really matter.
Torrey Smith's just better. I cannot be convinced that Devontae Parker will play more than 4 snaps.
You'll have to. They don't have any
like,
receivers.
You say that. We'll see. We'll see how they use him.
Amendola could be fine.
Look, they got
I
to
have
passing the ball 20 times, then trade him.
I have Amendola at 34.
Yeah,
I feel like he's
Amendola
just
is
the one they're going to
top
pass
one,
to.
Sure.
Jakeem Grant, I can get behind as like a flyer.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
at least he'll
he's
play.
going to be a popular showdown play, most likely.
and he'll play.
Yeah.
Would you use Irvin as your captain? Because I think he's like $200.
I'm going to think about it. He's going to be in some lineups, I'll tell you that much.
Yes, he should be. He's your access to everyone.
Yeah.
Like
Well, what is everyone though in this game?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would have to think the most common lineups is going to be Watson, Hopkins, Fuller, Irvin, Drake, and someone else.
Yeah.
Lamar Miller, probably.
Yeah.
Over under when you want to turn the game off. 7 minutes in?
You know what? I might just take Thursday night off and watch it in the morning.
That's
what I did with the Monday night game.
probably
I didn't
fair.
watch the Monday night
There's
game.
no World Series game even to watch instead.
I mean, I can find other things to do with my life besides watch TV. I can go out with my
Watch
wife.
The Haunting of Hill House. There you go.
I can go for a walk with my wife. There actually is a haunted house at Casa Loma right by our house.
Oh, that's true.
No,
That's a good
The
haunted
Haunting
house,
of Hill
actually.
House was terrific.
It's a Netflix series.
Oh.
Patrick.
Oh,
Yes.
Netflix. Listen to you millennials. Anyone you would take a shot on?
I kind of gave you a bunch of options. How many more do you want?
like Willie Snead. Maybe he catches the ball this week.
Yeah.
No, that was a
That was the
juicy
matchup.
Yep, that was the matchup. We talked about it last week. His appeal was a floor in a PPR, and then he busts in a great matchup. So why do you want no?
Hump Daddy's playing a bunch of snaps. That
can give you a
shootout.
Deshaun Jackson, and hopefully he catches a 40-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, I was very concerned about Deshaun Jackson last week with his just lack of usage overall, and they really just...
Well, Godwin finally outsnapped him.
That's the thing. Godwin's outsnapped him 2 weeks in a row now, so maybe they're just going towards that. Like, could you play Randall Cobb if he plays? I like Allison more, but
yeah,
he's usable. Sure,
Randall Cobb, and if Randall Cobb doesn't play, Valdez Scantling moves up.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, that's really it at receiver. Let's move on. Quarterbacks, the quarterman. I have Patrick Mahomes, this fella at number 1, if you've heard of him.
That seems brash.
You should play him. I have Watson and Rosen as probably playing. Rosen may not play, but I don't think it matters. No one's using these. Mike Glennon anyway. Secret bold, Mike Glennon. Josh Allen's not playing. Derek Anderson is. Ryan Tannehill obviously out. Mahomes, Rodgers, Cousins, Breeze, Goff, Luck, Brady, Watson, Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston.
Worst place.
Who?
I told you last. I shouldn't have listened to you.
You did call the bad Andy game.
Yeah, it was a bad Andy game.
This is why he should be in worst place for quarterbacks, because he is your Mark. This is everything you complain about Mark Ingram and Jared Cook, who I hate with you. And Mark, every time we go ready to say, you know what, it's time to trust Andy Dalton, he let you down. That's why. And now he'll have a rebound game this week, and it'll be fine. But the problem is everybody started him last week, and everybody was super excited and used them in DFS and everywhere, and bad Andy showed up.
Mark Ingram really did a real worst placey thing last week. Because although it was a bad matchup, people were like, oh man, look how much usage he got when he came back. He's going to get the same amount of usage again. And then he didn't do anything. And then he's still just hurting Kamara's bottom line.
Yeah.
He's double worst placed this year. Not good, and he's hurting the good guy.
It is tough.
Kamara still had a good day.
He did, but Kamara should be having the best days. He should be having Todd Gurley games every week, but he's not because stupid Mark Ingram's there. Either way. If Cam at 11, I don't want to play Cam, but you play Cam if you have him kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because he's still so good with what he can do with his legs and calling his own number that he scores points.
There was a point last week where it even seemed like he might only throw one touchdown, and he still had run for 50 yards at that point. Like, his floor is just so high. And he can blow up like he did. Somehow I think he reached like 26 DK points. I don't know how it happened, but he got there because he's Cam. So
I don't either because I saw it. I had him in cash and I was worried and saw the same thing. And I'm looking right now. Yeah, the week 1 is the only week he didn't score 20, and that was 19.9, 33, 31, 23, 26, 26. He somehow scores every single week.
So Cam, Trubisky, Ben. People are really big on Ben because he's back at home. I just think, hot take, maybe not that hot. I think this game's low scoring. Cleveland-Pittsburgh.
I can see it. It could be sloppy.
Yeah, like just...
It tends to be sloppy.
Well, here's the thing. If you look at their pace numbers, they're both inside the top 15 in overall pace. But if you look at their game neutral situations, and if I expect this game to be close, they're both in like the bottom 10 of the league in pace when games are close.
Yeah.
It's when they're up by a bunch or down by a bunch, they run really fast offenses. When they're close, they don't. So if I think this game is going to be close, and it just was the first time around, the second half of division games tend to be closer. Now, I don't know how much closer you can get than a tie, but like it's an 8-point game. Like, put it this way, I'm considering locking in Cleveland +8.
It's a big number.
Hmm?
It is
a big
really
number.
big number.
It is.
So then why do you have Baker at 15 then?
See, I think Baker chucks it around, and Baker runs more.
Okay, I'll give you the runs more. I don't know about chucking around this week if that's what you think. I mean, pace wise. He's also throwing to one receiver who can catch. Oh, I guess, and tight end too. But I mean, Antonio Callaway, whoever Ratley, nobody can catch on this team.
I mean, I have him at number 15.
I know, but I start Matthew Stafford in front of him. I'd even consider. I was about to say Joe Flacco, but the rushing upside of Mayfield, I wouldn't do that.
I was gonna say there's really only the one guy I would start above him anyway, and it's Stafford. But
all right, so I'll move. I'll move
this
Stafford
point,
ahead of him.
it is really minimal.
Wish I trusted Russell Wilson more because I'd like to have him higher. But I just think
I would love to too.
They're going to be able to, and Wilson's played good the last 2 games.
He's been fine, but again, it's
not
such
getting
a
volume,
small
though.
section of plays that he has to take advantage of, and he's doing it. But
he has to throw touchdowns, or you're kind of screwed because he's not running.
He's not running at all,
which is mind-boggling to me. If they're going to run that much, how are they not running with Russell Wilson, who's probably their best runner? It's craziness.
Look, he's too busy figuring out
concussion water. Yeah. Remember when that went away pretty quickly?
Yeah.
Drink my water. It cures concussions. Does it?
Well, he fixed concussions.
Oh, you actually have
and the company went out of business.
Has his name.
Yeah, the Brock Ness Monster. People like to call it.
I'd start Brock Osweiler over Eli Manning.
I considered putting Brock below Derek Anderson.
No. Eli Manning against the Redskins? No.
Brock actually hasn't looked terrible.
He hasn't. But here's the thing. The Texans are going to try to kill him.
Yeah.
Like, annihilate him. They hate him so much.
Do they think it's like Grand Theft Auto, where if they beat him up enough, his money, the $21 million he owes them will just fall out?
Exactly. Tight ends. I got Gronk in. I got Ed Dixon in, who's returning from a groin injury for the first time all year for Seattle. Ryan Griffin.
Yeah.
Ryan Griffin was dealing with an illness. He was too ill last week. This week he's less ill. He no longer has a license to ill, so he should play. Jack Doyle, James O'Shaughnessy, Ricky Seals-Jones I have listed as out. O'Shaughnessy and Seals-Jones could play, just right now, I don't know.
Yeah. Seals-Jones is tough.
So, number 1, I have Kelsey, then Ertz, then Ebron, then Kittle, then Njoku, then Gronk, then Uzuma, Howard, Burton, Graham. Fantasy Pros has put Jared Cook in 11th, which is way too high for me. Ben Watson, just start tight ends against Minnesota.
Also, Ben Watson was, dare I say, the second most utilized option in that offense last week?
In a revenge game, of course.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Kyle Rudolph, Greg Olson, Jordan Reed, Evan Ingram, Vance McDonald. There's one guy I left off of this intentionally because I'd like you guys to slot him in. Now I forgot his name again. I believe it's Herndon.
Oh, Chris Herndon.
Chris Herndon.
Yeah, Chris Herndon, the 4th.
Oh, he's the 4th?
Oh, he's the 4th.
Oh,
that
like,
changes everything.
Yeah, that is, yes.
I was kind of looking at Herndon this week. I don't know. He had like, 7 targets?
He almost scored 2 touchdowns.
I understand
He
that.
had to check the 4th privilege at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, it's Chris Herndon IV. Like all these idiots.
Maybe he's just dealing with a hangover and needs an IV, and that's just like his diabetes.
Oh no, Beckham, he hates water.
Yeah, it's like his diabetes tag, but he just has it on the back of his jersey. I need an IV. So where would he go in here? Because it looks like
Chris Herndon.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't go too far with
probably after Evan Ingram. Probably. I don't think I'd go higher than that.
Further than that. I was gonna say behind Cameron Brate. It's at Chicago
too.
Yeah, I don't hate this at Chicago matchup. Their defenses look bad 2 weeks in a row.
Well, I think you give them the pass for the Patriots.
What do I give them for the Dolphins?
Aberration? I don't know. I still think they're a fine defense.
Variance?
Well, it happens every now and again.
I'll put him in behind Vance. Do I have Vance too low at 17? I just feel like every week we think Vance is going to have a good week. He doesn't. Every week we think he's going to have a bad week. He does.
I just think if you have Ben that low...
Ben, that is part and parcel.
You kind of just have
and I really do think it's like Juju, Antonio Brown. Yeah. That's kind of it.
There's no scenario where he's not, at best case, the third option on this team. And if you don't think this team's going to score more than 21
Vance McDonald points, the third or Chris Herndon the fourth?
Well, still the fourth. It's one better.
Vance.
Is there anyone you would move up? Or is that this is like, do you have a problem with me ranking Gronk at 6, or is that too high?
No, again, I think it's
not
fine.
If he plays. But you can't wait if you don't have a backup plan.
Yeah, Dwayne Allen. Dwayne Allen is not.
Jason Kroom.
Yeah, Kroom. What about Clay? What about great Charles Clay?
No, that's not a backup plan either.
So
I start Dallas Goedert before I even went down that route.
Yeah, where do I have Goddard at? I have Goddard at 22. But
22.
But he's playing in the early Sunday game.
You won't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't care. I would if your backup plan is Gronk or nobody, or even Gronk or Clay. Unless you just need that boomer bust, my team's on a lot of buys or something like. I'll just start Goddard.
Well, is there a chance?
I would say the one that you wait on is just because Ben Watson's widely available. He's playing in the Sunday night game.
Yeah.
That if you're gonna know about Gronk, the news should be out by then. That if you don't know, you just play Ben Watson instead.
Why am I don't know why I'm spacing on his name.
Garion.
Well, that is my
your name.
Yes. Who is the stupid tight end the Patriots talk up for the last 2
Hollister?
seasons? Yeah, is there any word on if Hollister's going to be
Jacob
available?
Hollister?
Yeah.
Whether he's healthy?
Heir to the Hollister fortune?
Because I feel like if he is active if we get definitive word that he's going to be active for this game, or at least we get that before we know about Gronk, it seems like at the very least...
That's a backup plan.
At the very least, he's going to run routes.
Dwayne Allen, not an option.
No, not an option.
No.
Where's that fly? I finally saw it.
Dwayne Allen in the 4 games with no Gronk, 0 catches, 0 catches, 0 catches, 1 catch.
I would argue the most valuable asset in a fantasy player is consistency, Jake.
That's true.
So,
most consistent player on the board, Dwayne Allen.
There you go.
I'm looking at your rankings, by the way. Kyle Rudolph's too high.
At number 13?
What has he done this year? He has been left out. And the one thing that I know, it's funny, this is kind of be the theme of today of the one thing a team does well, but the one thing the Saints defense does well, mostly because you can attack them everywhere else. So why bother? I mean, the run defense, in the passing game is they stop tight ends.
The run defense is pretty good.
No, that's why I prefaced it with the passing game. The receivers attack the receivers, nobody does anything tight end wise, and they face some decent tight ends.
You can't attack them through the air anymore. They have Eli Apple, who Twitter thinks is actually really good. Jake, your thoughts?
Oh, no. I tweeted that earlier today that Ken Crawley is actually top 5 in yards per snap, and Eli Apple's 20th. So giant improvement there.
It's a pun.
So Greg Olsen over Rudolph. Would you play Greg Olsen over Watson? I just worry about that matchup.
It's a bad matchup, but at the same time, I still think he's going to see probably 6 to 8 targets in the game.
So would you play Watson or would you play Olsen? Watson in a great matchup.
I'd play Olsen, I think.
Jake?
I would play Olsen. I would play Evan Ingram and play Jordan Reed against the Giants. And then I'd probably slide in Kyle Rudolph around Vance McDonald territory because that's what he is at this point. He's a touchdown or bust.
Would you play Kyle Rudolph or Chris Herndon the fourth?
I would play Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, what if he got to use his silver spoon on the field?
I think the thing that we have to bake in with Olsen, too...
is that he looks like Dexter, and if I don't rank him highly, he's going to wrap me up in plastic and murder me?
He's boomer. He's touchdown or bust at this point, too.
Let's say that's second behind... But here's the thing, speaking to his touchdown or bust value, is that we know...
You're pulling a cam. You're looking at the screen to talk... Hi, Jake!
He's got such big, blue, beautiful eyes. Is that we know the Panthers, if it's... Aside from Cam calling his own number, they're not going to run the football inside the 5-yard line. So... if there's a situation for a tight end to be a little bit touchdown or bust, at least it's a situation where we know inside the red zone they're still going to be passing the football.
Would you rather play
Fair.
Greg Olsen in that situation or just the situation, who may or may not be in jail?
He is. I looked this up after we talked about it last. He was arrested. I don't know if he's in jail,
Poor guy.
but he was
I
arrested.
feel bad for the
I thought you were going to ask
you know what
about
you can
Herndon
do?
Fourth
You,
again.
you,
Literally, there's only 3 things to do in jail.
Gym tan laundry.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I mean, he's probably in like Jersey jail, so I don't know how much tanning they're going to be.
Right
doing.
on the
You're allowed to
beach.
tan it in jail?
What's
I
that?
don't know. I feel like when you get your yard time, from what I've seen from the movies,
Okay, I was thinking tan like fake, like they have fake beds in jail. I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah, he's gonna. Pauly D is gonna give him the spare tanning bed. That's what he's gonna sleep in when he's in the slammer. Poor Sitch. I could use more Sitch in my life. I really enjoyed that Jersey Shore reunion.
yeah, it was fun.
So I'll move Rudolph down to behind Evan Ingram. So it'll be Reed, Ingram, Rudolph, Vance, Chris Herndon the fourth. IV.
Well, you've got to have a lot of stock in Chris Herndon because Chris Herndon is your Jordan, the anti-Jordan Leggett.
Well, James O'Shaughnessy is still currently outscoring Jordan Leggett.
It's true.
That 10-1 for me if I can hit it. It's gonna be fantastic. And the one bet Tim would have won got nullified.
Yep.
On a technicality. Poor guy. I can't. I see. We're gonna talk about this 2-point thing. So this is a tease for Wednesday's show with Feinberg and Cust. That's when we're gonna talk about the 2-point thing. Because I don't know what Tim's take on it is. I assume it's crazy. It's something we haven't even heard yet.
I think the strangest thing, I know you don't want to spend too much time on it, but people were, I mean, maybe it's because everyone was tired and still drinking their coffee in the morning. I don't know. But essentially the same thing happened just later in the game in London. And no one was really upset at all. And then it happens last night and everyone's freaking out. It's basically the same situation, just playing out 1 touchdown beforehand.
I think it's just because everyone had such a bad week playing DraftKings that people were just pissed in general. Everyone
Maybe.
lost all their money.
Possible.
Defenses. Let's close this out here. This is our most efficient show to date.
There we go.
We even got to talk about Amari Cooper and nothing for the first time in 5 minutes.
And we got to read from my whatever giant comic thing is called.
A reading from the book of X-Men from Jake.
On the bus.
Defenses. Guess who I have at number 1?
Houston,
number
I got
1
no
against the
problem
Brock
with that.
Ness monster. New England, number 2. Chicago, number 3. Zona, number 4. I'm not afraid of the Zona. Well, I played them at San Francisco a few weeks ago. Paid off handsomely. And no one's using them now. They're all dropped after Denver shellacked them. KC, Jacksonville, Washington, Philly, the Lions, Steelers, Browns, Baltimore, Dolphins, Jets, San Fran.
I would say this is one of the more paint-by-numbers defense weeks I think we've had in a long time. Like, your top 3 defenses happen to be facing the 3 teams with the lowest implied point totals of any teams this week. Like, it's a play your studs week, I think, at defense. And, yeah, you're right. I think Arizona, I would say, I just wrote them up for DraftKings today.
Out of all, the DK, they're expensive on DK,
That's
too.
the problem. On DK, they're
but no one's going to use
too
them.
expensive for my liking.
No one's going to use them.
Yeah,
It was like the Rams last week. We all should have saw the Rams, and no one used the Rams defense.
it's true.
And they scored 500 points.
23, but yes.
Give or take.
Yes, give or
take 500.
But yeah, in a season long, I have no problem picking up Arizona and using them.
I mean, I just
San
have them
Francisco
from-
is-
I just have them from last week when they scored 2 points.
Very generous are the San Francisco 49ers on offense.
Do you have any takes on defenses, Jake?
Where'd you have the Redskins?
7.
Yeah, then no, not really.
Yeah, it's a weird week for defenses. They're just really good plays and really bad plays.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the bad plays is going to be great, but it's impossible to figure out who that's going to
Yeah,
be.
someone's going to score 2 touchdowns.
You know what sucked? I was big on the Lions D last week, and they did exactly what I wanted them to do, but all they did was generate 4 sacks.
Yeah.
I set their sack base at 4.
I
That's
had
all
them
they
in
did.
I had them in a few tournaments too, hoping that you get a Darius Slay touchdown interception type of situation.
But it was like I said, the Dolphins are among those teams, and we talked about this last week, who they just don't take chances on offense. Brock checks down more often than not. They're not a
Right. Well,
turnover
that's actually
prone
why I would
team.
go with the Patriots over the Texans this week.
I just think I think we can set a pretty comfortable sack base of 31 for the Texans on Thursday night. That's a good floor, right?
Yeah.
What do you think they're going to shank Brock?
Yes.
Oh, then a David Fales sighting?
Oh my God, is that who it is?
That's their backup.
Isn't
yeah.
he a tight end?
No.
So
I'm thinking
what
of
happens
Daniel
on the flip
Fells.
side
Yes.
if Sean Watson gets broken? Do we see Joe Webb or do we see Brandon Whedon.
Oh, Joe Webb.
Joe
would be
Webb. Brandon Wheaton. Is he actually the
Yeah,
backup?
he is their backup
Oh my
quarterback.
God.
They were a great preseason team because they just had 17 years of veteran quarterback
Yeah, but
experience.
they got Joe Webb, and everyone knows how big of a Joe Webb truther
You are
I
a
am.
very big Joe Webb truther.
Did you know? Let me ask you this. Do you know who the backup for the Falcons is?
Yeah, it's Matt Chubb.
Yeah, I see.
I know, everything is new again.
Yeah, I can't believe he's still in football. Is
The only reason I remember that is because it's 2 Matts. That was the only way I could remember.
I just remember it being like,
Is
oh,
Jake-
look, he got back there.
Is there a chance that Jake Delhomme is Cam's backup?
I would love that.
No,
I
that is
love
not who
Jake
it is.
Delhomme.
But Tom Savage just got signed back into the league.
Oh, Macho King Thomas Savage.
I did love how they cut a safety to sign a quarterback. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense for a team that has the worst defense in football, but okay.
Hold on, let's go back real
didn't end up
quick.
playing last
He
week.
didn't play. It's true.
I want to bring this up, though, because you asked. Cam Newton only has one backup. He's from ODU. It's Tyler Haneke.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either.
Do you mean
He's
Chris?
a
Do you
what-
mean Chris Winky?
Oh, Chris
No,
Winkie.
Tyler Haneke.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
He's
Rodney
from Old
P.
Dominion.
Oh, he's a monarch? A mighty monarch.
Yeah. He's one of the only good things that we've had, him and Zach Pascal.
Oh, I thought it was Zach Pascal.
Nah.
I think it's just Pascal.
So he does the classic American way of butchering names that are of a different culture. Like when people say, hey, wait in the foyer of my house, and it makes you sound like you're brain dead.
That is pretty bad, yeah.
Americans do it all the time. When I lived in New York, and people were like, yeah, go
Well,
wait.
that's because
Go
we
wait in the
actually-
foyer. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
It just doesn't sound right.
well,
coming
it's
off
not
the tongue.
right. That's why it
No,
doesn't sound
But
right.
I'm saying, like, people should realize if a word sounds that ugly, you're not pronouncing it properly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
let me just take it the other way. I'll just add a bunch of U's to everything. How about that?
it's a French word.
It elongates things. It makes them sound
How about
better.
this? How about you just say the lobby then instead of the foyer or the foyer?
Well, no, nobody says the foyer. Like, people say lobby. I don't know who you're talking to who says
Also,
foyer anyway.
Canadian Scrabble, much more high scoring.
Well, I mean, U's aren't really words.
Why?
Yeah,
'Cause
but
all the
you
U's?
add the extra U, and all of a sudden a 6-letter word is a 7-letter word.
It does give you access
Bingo,
to both
bango.
a double and triple word score because of the potential extra letters. Too.
There you go.
There is that in play. All right, any final thoughts on week 8?
Wait, how do you add up to the points? Metric or standard?
Oh, of course, metric. You can never use the imperial system when it comes to these matters. Did you see that? I actually retweeted a map the other day.
I saw the map. I want to know what's the one country way out there in Asia?
Oh yeah, there's 2. It's I can't remember what it
There's
is.
2 of them, and one of them makes a lot of sense. So obviously it would be. What is the other one?
I
though?
don't remember. I never can.
I believe
remember
it's
this.
Malaysia.
Is it
Oh,
Malaysia?
It's Malaysia or the Philippines, but the Philippines is a Dutch colony.
No, I know where the
Originally-
Philippines. I don't think it was the Philippines.
I believe Liberia is the other one. Is the African nation that doesn't.
I was gonna
use
say
the metric
there
system.
was one in Africa.
Yeah, there was a
Mal-
couple grays.
They
Well,
just
undecided.
don't use.
Yeah.
They don't use math.
Math.
Myanmar. That's Burma.
Oh.
Myanmar. Yeah, Burma.
Myanmar,
Like,
okay.
don't call it Burma, man. We're off the Burma train here. It's Myanmar or Myanmar, as some people say.
Is it
Yeah.
Myanmar or Myanmar?
I believe it's Myanmar.
Okay.
My neighbor's from Malaysia, so I probably shouldn't have got that wrong.
Is that like the whole Istanbul Constantinople thing?
a little bit?
I'd say it's more like Serbia,
Yugoslavia
Yugoslavia. Yeah. Anyway,
or East Germany, West Germany, and just Germany?
I really want to know what those countries are that are nothing. Like,
don't
we
even
just
know.
we don't measure anything. We just guess.
Yeah, it's just guesswork. All their houses are slightly off, slightly ajar. I still don't understand how you can't use the metric system. It blows my mind.
makes so much sense.
As someone who grew up in a metric system loving society, it makes a lot of intuitive sense.
Nice round numbers.
Yeah, like the tens all line up with each other.
Seems to make sense.
It is.
I
Although
think wasn't it Lyndon Johnson that tried to vote it into America and it got overturned?
Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon. No, of course. His name is Lyndon. Anyone taking him seriously? They should have just elected a ladybird. Then it would have been fine. There is a name with a lot of class. Ladybird Johnson. Or the Lyndon Johnson.
I'm looking right now. No, it's actually Gerald Ford. I was wrong.
Ah, he likes football
And
and nachos.
Former President Gerald Ford. I feel like that's a galvanizing force. Because, like I said, I almost quit Twitter because of the stupid 2-point argument and people responding to Trump.
Yeah.
I don't get why people do it. Like, smart people that I know are like, at Donald Trump, you're a liar. That's a great use of your time, man.
That's the one that's gonna break him down.
Yeah, it's like, he's gonna be scrolling through his Twitter and just be like, oh my god, they're on to me. Like, do something, like go for a walk or something. And the thing's gonna happen this week too, like with the midterms coming, people like, you need to exercise. There's nothing more important than exercising your right to vote. No matter who you vote for, remember, you got to go vote. 20 minutes after the election results are in, I can't believe you voted that way. You should never vote. People are just morons. Get it together. At least be honest then.
Get it together, people.
People pissing me off.
You were going to say that was the one galvanizing thing you had about Twitter.
Oh, the one galvanizing thing is Americans in general would be super triggered if you switched over to the metric system.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hey, by the way, Paxton Lynch is working out for the Titans.
What's that?
Paxton Lynch is working out for the Titans today.
I thought you said Taxalicious. I was like, that's a great name. The IRS is all over him. Taxalicious. Paxton Lynch. Oh, he's not going to go back to Denver now that they have to cut what's his face?
Oh, yeah. That was one of the best crimes I've ever heard
that
in my life.
That he snuck into someone's house wearing a
sat
cowboy
on the
hat?
couch.
Chad Kelly.
He was too boozed.
Just sat on the couch. And they got beaten.
They hit him with the vacuum.
Yeah. They beat him with a vacuum tube.
Wait, he wasn't like, he didn't do anything besides pass out.
He sat down on a couch next to a woman holding her baby, and then the husband came in and beat him with a
Oh, I didn't realize there was a woman with a baby there.
Yeah.
Okay, that seems more...
A little, yeah.
I can see why people are upset.
But apparently he was wearing a cowboy hat, and he had a red bandana around his neck.
Didn't he just think he was in the wrong house? Wasn't that the whole thing?
I assume.
No idea. But yeah, probably.
So what drugs are you on if that's the case? Or are you just too drunk?
Well, you know why he was dressed up like that.
Were they robbing a train?
No, it was Von Miller had like a Halloween party that was country and western themed.
Halloween party way too early.
The repercussions of holding your Halloween parties too early.
This is what happens, people.
Chad Kelly's gonna walk into your house.
Stop with your damn Instagram post on October 18th for Halloween.
Too drunk? Not cocaine.
I think they just made me drunk.
Not alert enough for cocaine, I feel.
Maybe like 2 hours after cocaine, though.
No, we're getting a no way here.
Okay.
I agree. No way. Mushrooms?
This is...
Mushrooms and
I'm learning
booze?
so much about porn and drugs today.
Mushroom. We talked about weed for like 20 minutes with Meanie on Monday.
Yeah.
People lined up for weed. To buy weed. Lined up to buy it.
Some provinces are running out.
Apparently. Oh, question from the audience. Yes, sir.
It's probably ecstasy.
Ecstasy?
Ah.
Would that would go out of your system fairly quickly too, that you couldn't be caught for it too, wouldn't you?
People do weird things.
There we go. Case closed. Chad Kelly, get all the ecstasy you want now. That's my speculation, at least. Jake Ciely, follow him on Twitter at AllInKid. Read his work on The Athletic. But Jake, the big thing, the Patreon podcast is the thing now. Tell people about it.
The big thing. Yes, I still have All In Sports on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's the free one that I'm doing for everybody. But Joe, Benny, myself, Mondays and Wednesdays, and then only Joe and Benny on Fridays as part of the Patreon. We'll do the YouTube Gambit and giveaways and Joe's Black Book and all that type of stuff. But yeah, it's the page. It's very simple. It's the patreon.com/allinsports, just like the same thing for The Athletic. theathletic.com/allinsports. I get all my own branded stuff now.
Why is Joe book got to be black? That's all I'm saying. Garion, where can people find your work?
Because it's bigger that way.
And this guy says he doesn't watch porn.
It's all come full circle.
Yeah, you can read me on DraftKings Playbook.
Question.
Yes.
What if you can't read? Do you have
Jake will come to your house and read my work in his funny voices.
It is one. You and Andercutt should have an impression off.
I can't do any impressions. I can do Grover, and that's about it.
Oh, let's hear it.
No.
You can also do Yoda. If you can do Grover, you can also do Yoda.
I really can't. I struggle with Yoda.
If I warm up my voice, I can do Mervin the Martian.
You do Snagglepuss
pretty
well.
This makes me very angry.
That's good.
Not bad.
It's pretty good.
Not bad. I always wanted to be able to do a Christopher Walken. I can't.
Then you should definitely talk to Tim Andercutt, king of the Christopher Walken impression. Or Christopher Walken just hangs out at his house. Like
he apparently lives in rural Nova Scotia. It's great. He just walks in from time to time.
At Garion Thorne on Twitter.
Yes.
All right. I'm Pat Mayo. if you didn't know.
There you go.
But I assume you did know. If you want to get in a draft for 20 DK bucks, like the episode, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. Tell me where you think Amari Cooper will rank the rest of the season in PPR amongst wide receivers. You guys got a guess? I'm going to say 37.
I'm going to say he has enough big, strange weeks to be top 30. I'm going to say 28.
Jake?
I'll take 31 in the middle.
Does he outscore Cole Beasley in PPR?
No.
Yeah.
I think Beasley's going to outscore him.
I think Gallup's starting to usurp a little bit.
All right.
That's fair, too.
Subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast, wherever you can download podcasts, rate and review on there. And you can listen for free on demand anytime. I'll be back tomorrow with DraftKings picks and the Spread Pick Show Friday. I split it up into 2 shows, so it's going to be an injury report for Standard Fantasy, Ownership DraftKings show. They'll be separate, so you don't have to watch them both. I suggest you watch them both because I need the hits. Live Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Live Monday morning, 10 a.m. Both times, get you ready for Sunday. And then, boom, recapping the shows on Monday morning. Plus, MMA, UFC Moncton this week on the UFC schedule. That will be out Thursday afternoon / Thursday evening if you want the DraftKings picks for that. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. Good luck in Week 8. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!